July 10th, 2024, market review. I'm a developing student as always, and these are just my interpretations on price. Shout out ICT. Let's get straight into it. So, as we see here, overall, what is underlying order flow? As we see, order flow overall is bullish. We continue to keep on making new highs, and overall, we are just expanding higher within this fractal of price. As we can see, we had an immediate rebalance yesterday, and then today we just end up expanding off of that. So, that is a telltale that we are still holding underlying bullish order flow, and we might not stop. And we have CPI tomorrow, and then we have PPI Friday. So this was a pre-CPI day. So I wasn't really anticipating this much expansion within the market, but tomorrow's CPI, so that would be interesting to watch. As you see, this is the 15-minute time frame. We take buy side here, we come back down, we have a 1 hour order block here, and then we end up expanding higher. We manipulate below true day open here. So as you see, since we were bullish, we manipulate below true day open, and then we expand higher. So now this just becomes an AM manipulation higher, then more manipulation lower to then expand and do the real move higher. And 6 p.m. low here, creating no wick on the candle right there. So we just expand all Asia. We don't have any true manipulation in Asia. We do have an SMT that forms right here, and we end up expanding to buy side and come back down and attacking sell side. So this is the initial consolidation around 8:30 to 9:30, and this is market open right here. So we consolidate right before market open, right above previous day high. Overall order flow right now is bullish. We come up and we actually barely mitigate this high here, barely entice maybe some breakouts right here to buy side, and then we come all the way back down, and then we reprice to sell side, forming SMT, and creating a wick right here. So this wick shows intention that we do want to head to buy side here. We have a 5-minute inversion, 5-minute fair value gap right there, balanced price range. We come back down and we use that, and then we expand to buy side here. And then this is happening with the 950 macro. This is the 1-minute chart, and here's that 5-minute inversion, fair value gap right here. As you see, we end up expanding to buy side during that 950 macro. We engage more buy side. And here is, I want to bring up this because this kind of is a nice study. We have a dealing range right here. And I know this is very fractal. So if this was a 5-second chart or a 15-second chart, they might be able to get something out of this. But look what we do. We go into a deep premium, back down to a deep discount, back up to deep premium, around equilibrium. What are we doing? We're just consolidating here. Back into a deep discount, taking sell side, and then repricing where to? Buy side there. Original draw liquidity. And then what do? We have this fair value gap. We end up expanding. And here is that 950 macro. We end up finishing that 950 macro. We've taken buy side once before. We've taken buy side once again. And now we form an SMT with taking buy side again. So overall, what have we created? This is a signature that I like to see in price. I like to see high resistance created. And I would count this as a high resistance signature. We've taken buy side not once, but we've taken buy side twice. And now we have formed an SMT within the market at a key time in the day after that 10 at the 950 macro, and now we want the market to show us that we want to do something. So as we see here, we have displacement lower. We have a fair value gap here. We inverse that. Then we get displacement lower. We get another fair value gap right here. This now becomes a breakaway gap because this acts as a balanced price range. Price should not need to hang around up here. And now what do we have? We have a breaker. Last down close candle before taking buy side. Or yeah, I would count this as a breaker. And look, breaker / mitigation with the fair value gap, with the balanced price range ahead of us, with sell side interest lower, this now becomes a nice model right here. And then we have that fair value gap right there. And then expanding to sell side right here. We have this inversion right here, this fair value gap right there. Look at delivery right there. And notice how many times we were offered there. Balance gets respected, and then we have another imbalance within the market, and then 1050 macro. Look right when that starts, immediate sell side deliver to sell side right there. As we see, this is a 5-minute chart. We have a 5-minute fair value gap after taking buy side. That's your 2022 model. And then you have another fair value gap right there on the 5-minute. And then we offer this low. So originally, I thought that we could head to Asia lows, but this order block acted as a order block would and supported price right there. So as you see, we have the higher time frame PD array. We have the order block. We also have true day opening. Now we are manipulating below. And then we have displacement higher. We have a fair value gap. This now acts as a balanced price range. Price does not need to really hang out in there. We have a change of state delivery. Before that all, this, notice how we close above that, and then this acts as an order block. Displacement higher, breakaway gap. Then we have a fair value gap right there, paired with this mitigation. And then we have delivery during that 11:50 macro to buy side right here. And as we can see, this is the 1 minute chart, standard deviation from this first retracement leg, from this mitigation leg. We end up having 3.5 standard deviation, line up nice with buy side there. We reaccumulate within -1 to 1.5. Here are the swing grades of this model. 25%, we get a low risk entry. 50%, we get a consolidation. We actually don't end up getting a stop hunt, really. We have no really significant stop hunt here. And then we displace through 50%. And then here's that 75% silver bullet right there, delivered to buy side. And as we can see, we have displacement through buy side right here. We displace through buy side, showing that we might want to make new highs. We're not rejecting this. We are instead disrespecting this. We come to buy side. We have like an order block here within the PM session. I'm not really annotating any PM session because I didn't think it was salient. And I also don't trade PM session. So that's what we had through the PM session. If we map out this fulcrum point right here, -1, we get a nice reaction off of that through the wicks. And as you can see, this is delivery we had during the AM session. We had a Judas swing. We come up. We originally take buy side, sell side, buy side. 9:50 macro, 10 a.m. starts our reversal lower. Then we have a 10:50 macro reversal after hitting a higher time PD array. Then we have 11:50 continuation towards buy side. We also, Powell was speaking today, and it was the day before CPI. Those are kind of the big news events. And I do want to go into the charts, and I do want to replay all this with the knowledge that we have now. And I want to do this every session. I just want to like brainwash myself. And maybe if you want to get something out of this, you could follow along. But basically, I'm just going to brainwash myself into seeing this happen like I saw it coming. And you might think it's silly, but that's what we're going to do. So as we can see here, we have a dealing range right here. We're close to buy side right there. We've come back down. We have taken sell side here. That's what I'm denoting. We've taken sell side first. Then we come back up. We take buy side. So now we've had a double purge. Both sides of liquidity taken. And now we're repricing lower. Where are we repricing lower to? We then take sell side liquidity. We then form an SMT. SMT is formed. We have a wick here on the 1 minute candle showing maybe some signs of respect here. Sorry, we form it here. Price change. This is a good brainwashing. Price change say delivery here. We have a breaker. That becomes an order block. We don't get a retracement, we get an immediate rebalance. I want to see buy side get taken because we have these highs now generated above this. And also, if we note this, I didn't put this in the review. I should have. I was talking about earlier in the live stream, but as you can see here, from this low to high, what do we have? We have a dealing range here, so we can swing grade this. And look at where we find support right here at that 75%. I don't know why I paused there. And now we are expecting, and I am anticipating to see buy side now become the draw on liquidity. We have a 1 minute fair value gap that we have an IOFED in. We have an SMT, change state delivery. I'm expecting to see buy side. Buy side gets delivered. We're coming back down into that. I'm expecting to see expansion higher. I'm expecting to see buy side get met now. We have a 950 macro. I'm expecting to see 950 macro continue towards buy side. And now, we've now taken both buy side. We've taken buy side again. So therefore, we have a high resistance signature created. We've taken buy side once and then buy side twice. So therefore, I don't really think that we have much interest of going higher. And if we start getting bearish for value gaps, if we start getting bearish momentum, we could see a possible reversal here. All right, we create an SMT. We form an SMT here. And I still have some interest, maybe possibly on this low here. We are still above true day open. So I think that we could have some unfinished business below true day open because we have a high resistance signature. I want to see maybe this for value gap or this for value gap get inversed. and then we'll see what price does. So I'm going to mark out these fair value gaps to see, hey, maybe we can reverse here. Okay, we create a bearish fair value gap here. Do we want to retrace into this? I don't expect it because we have this signature right here. We have a fair value gap overlapped with a fair value gap. So we may not need to trade up into this, and this could be a breakaway. So I'm going to mark out a mitigation here, or a breaker. I'm going to mark the bodies of that. Okay, we get further displacement here. We're now about to close through this fair value gap right here. Now we trade back into that. It could be an inversion. We're now trading into that breaker, into this fair value gap right there. So we have some confluences lined up here. This could be a possible short. If I can find it. Short. What would I look for? Stop at this high. We have SMT. We have a high resistance signature. I'm suggesting that we do not need to go there. We could take partials at 25 points at a 1-to-1 right there at this internal low there. And then I could look for that draw on liquidity there. I'm waiting. We see more displacement here. I do want to grade this previous dealing range that we had. Respect 50% of that. We come back up into this fair value gap right here. We know that we're in a sell model, so I'm not really looking at this fair value gap. And we see further displacement back inside that fair value gap. We get offered another entry, and look at where we consolidated around 50% of that. And I also want to grade this dealing range low to high. We're now displacing below 50% of that. So I'm now expecting to see this become the draw on liquidity for sure. This is the we could possibly catch a second stage of distribution within the sell model within 75%. We have a fair value gap that we could retrade into. We also have an inversion right there, so this should act as a wall. We suspect that these highs don't need to get traded to. Our displacement lower within 75% of this dealing range. And there we have another possible entry. 1050 macro is now or is about to open. So I'm marking out 1050 macro. Displacement. And look at what finds support, 75% of that. We also have constant encroachment of this wick. 75% of that acts as resistance. Now we have now delivered sell side. So sell side has been delivered. We've now drawn into my higher time frame PDA, the order block. And we also still have this SMT because ES has failed to take this low. If we pull up ES at the time had just taken a low. So ES has souped a low into a higher time frame PDA. And now I'm waiting. I want to see more information. I want to see a potential 5-minute change of state delivery. So I have a potential 5-minute change of state delivery here. I want to see if we're going to close above that. We do close above that. And we use it as support. So now I'm looking for this to possibly be the draw on liquidity. Maybe equilibrium of this range should get traded to. So I'm going to mark out these levels. We are within 25% of that implied dealing range. So I could expect to see a low risk entry, which is what we have here. We have this fair value gap get offered right there. And now I'm looking for buy side. I know that price could accumulate, reaccumulate, or consolidate around equilibrium of that. We have displacement through. We're displacing through 50% of this. So I have a strong conviction that we were probably heading to this high right here. I'm going to zoom out to the 5-minute. Okay, we have a balanced price range right here. I'm looking at this fair value gap to be a sensitive fair value gap. It's also around equilibrium of that dealing range. I want to see if we possibly want to accumulate and then manipulate, have a stop point around 50% of that dealing range. So I'm marking out that 5-minute fair value gap. We also have this mitigation block right here. This area of mitigation. We also have this area of mitigation. So I'm monitoring these areas right here. Coming back down into that mitigation. Back in equilibrium. Equilibrium acts as support. We have a fair value gap here. I'm expecting this to hold and to see buy side become the draw on liquidity. We accumulate. Now we've displaced through 75%. I want to see if we want to have this as a silver bullet. I'm expecting this to be silver bullet of this model. Last phase, second stage of accumulation. And this could frame a possible 20-point move. And boom, buy side liquidity has been taken. And just like that, between the 1150 macro, we had accumulation towards buy side. And now I'm waiting. My draw on liquidity has been met. I'm not really looking for much else. We've now displaced through this high here. So I think we could see upside objectives. If we look from this low to this high, I think we could see possible -1. Possible -1. -1 become the draw on liquidity. So displacing. And -1 causes reaction. All right, and that is the market review. I don't care if it was corny. I'm gonna do that. I think it was nice. Kind of just brainwash myself to seeing it happen before it actually happens, even though I've already seen it over. And I appreciate you guys. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.